A river in the desert sounds like a contradiction, almost like a mirage whispered by the wind across endless, but what if it's real? What if, in one of the harshest and driest regions on Earth, humans are attempting to rewrite nature itself? The story begins in the vast, sun-scorched lands of Saudi Arabia, where temperatures can climb beyond imagination and rainfall is so rare that a single storm becomes a memory people talk about for years. This is a land where water has always been more valuable than gold, where civilizations historically clustered around oases like lifelines in a sea of sand. For centuries, survival here meant adaptation, not transformation. But today, something has changed. Something massive. Deep beneath the desert surface lies a hidden secret. Ancient aquifers, trapped water that has been stored for thousands, sometimes millions, of years. These underground reserves were formed during a time when the Arabian Peninsula was greener, when rivers actually flowed and life flourished in ways almost impossible to imagine now. For decades, Saudi Arabia has tapped into these reserves for agriculture and urban growth. But what's happening now goes far beyond simple extraction. A bold vision has emerged, a plan so ambitious it feels almost unreal. Engineers, scientists, and visionaries are working on a mega project that aims to create artificial rivers, lush green corridors, and sustainable water systems across the desert. It's not just about survival anymore. It's about dominance over the environment. At the heart of this transformation is a combination of cutting-edge technologies. Massive desalination plants line the coasts, pulling in seawater from the Red Sea and the Arabian Gulf. These plants, some of the largest in the world, use advanced filtration and reverse osmosis to remove salt, turning ocean water into fresh, usable water. But desalination alone isn't the miracle, it's what comes next. The purified water is transported inland through an intricate network of pipelines stretching hundreds of kilometers. These pipelines are like arteries, pumping life into regions that have been dry for millennia. In some areas, engineers are designing open water channels, man-made rivers that cut through the desert, shimmering under the blazing sun. Imagine standing in the middle of a desert and hearing the sound of flowing water. Not wind, not silence, but water. It's a surreal image, one that's slowly becoming reality. But why? Why would a nation invest billions, even trillions, into creating rivers where none should exist? The answer lies in a larger vision, a future where Saudi Arabia is not just an oil giant, but a global leader in sustainability, innovation, and futuristic living. Projects like NEOM and the Line are part of this grand plan. These aren't just cities. They are experiments in redefining how humans live with nature, or perhaps, how they reshape it entirely. The artificial rivers are designed to support agriculture, reduce temperatures, and create microclimates. Trees and vegetation planted along these waterways can lower surrounding temperatures significantly, turning unbearable heat into something more manageable. Over time, these green corridors could even influence rainfall patterns, slowly changing the climate itself. It sounds like science fiction, but the science behind it is real. Plants release moisture into the air through a process called transpiration. When scaled across massive areas, this can increase humidity and potentially contribute to cloud formation. Combine that with strategic weather modification techniques, and suddenly, the idea of rain in the desert doesn't seem so impossible. However, not everyone is convinced this is a perfect plan. Critics argue that relying heavily on desalination is risky. It requires enormous amounts of energy, and although Saudi Arabia is investing in renewable energy like solar power, the scale of these projects raises concerns. There's also the issue of environmental impact. Desalination plants release highly concentrated salt back into the sea, which can harm marine ecosystems. Then there's the question of sustainability. The underground aquifers being used in some areas are non-renewable. Once depleted, they're gone forever. Is this project a long-term solution, or just a temporary illusion of abundance? Despite these concerns, construction continues at a breathtaking pace. Satellite images reveal massive developments carving their way through the desert. What was once empty land is now filled with machinery, pipelines, and emerging green landscapes. Workers from around the world have come together to build this vision. Engineers designing water systems, environmental scientists studying the impact, architects imagining cities that have never existed before. It's a global effort, fueled by ambition and possibility. And then there's the psychological impact. For generations, People in desert regions have lived with scarcity. Water was something to be conserved, protected, respected. But what happens when water becomes abundant? When rivers flow where there were none? It changes everything. Agriculture could flourish on a scale never seen before in the region. Food security would improve dramatically. Entire ecosystems could be created from scratch. Animals, birds, and insects would migrate, bringing new life to the desert. But there's also a deeper question, one that goes beyond technology and engineering. Should humans do this? Is it right to reshape nature so drastically? To turn deserts into green landscapes, not because they evolved that way, but because we have the power to make it happen. Some see it as progress, the ultimate proof of human ingenuity. Others see it as arrogance, a dangerous belief that we can control systems far more complex than we understand. History offers warnings. There have been civilizations that tried to control water and paid the price. Over-irrigation, soil salinization, ecological imbalance, these are not new problems. The difference now is the scale. This is not a small agricultural project. This is an entire nation attempting to rewrite its environmental destiny. Yet, there's something undeniably captivating about it. The idea of a river flowing through endless, children playing near water in places where their ancestors only saw sand, cities rising with greenery woven into their design. It feels like a dream pulled into reality. And perhaps that's what makes this project so powerful. It's not just about water. It's about imagination. It's about asking a question that humans have asked for centuries: what if? What if the impossible is just something we haven't figured out yet? What if deserts don't have to stay deserts? As the sun sets over the Arabian sands, casting golden light across newly built channels of water, the world watches. Some with awe, some with skepticism, some with concern. Because this isn't just Saudi Arabia's story. It's a glimpse into the future of humanity. A future where climate challenges push us to think bigger, act bolder, and take risks that once seemed unthinkable. A future where technology and nature collide in ways we are only beginning to understand. The river in the desert is more than a project. It's a symbol of ambition, of possibility, of the thin line between innovation and overreach. And as the waters begin to flow, one thing becomes clear: whether this vision succeeds or fails, it will change the world's perception of what is possible forever.